I'm good.
You all set?
Yep.
Okay, I don't happen to see what time it is, but I'm gonna
6:33.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Are there any comments? Are there any comments from the board on topics not on the agenda? Nothing? No board? Nothing. Are there any topics, Brandon, to the town manager, topics not on the agenda?
No, sir.
I don't have any. If I do, I didn't write them down, but, are there any citizens that have logged in, that would have a comment on a topic that's not on the agenda? I don't know if everybody can hear me. Darren, can you hear me? You just give me a thumbs up, okay? Everybody, I don't know whether
Raise your
the
blue
sound
hand.
is good. We didn't do any testing, so I gotta do that. So, anybody online, if you would like to yell or scream or something to know we're working, right? We're all working.
Yep.
I'm assuming we are. Okay, I'd like a motion to pass the minutes of January 26th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes of January 26th. Is there any discussion? Don't hear anything. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We move to number 4. Brandon, why don't you introduce Mary Lee and about what this topic's about? It's about that she asked to talk about potentially a swap shop. I know years ago we had one at the transfer station. So Brandon, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so Marilee and I met several weeks ago, and she came to my office and wanted to discuss a couple of things. One of those things was potentially setting up a volunteer swap shop at the Weathersfield transfer station. In brief, residents would be able to drop their unwanted items off at the transfer station free of charge, and then treasure hunters will be able to shop through these items and bring these items home with them free of charge. Marilee has offered to volunteer doing some of this work to help get this started at the Weathersfield transfer station. So I'll pass it over to Marilee.
Thank you. Thank you. We moved here and bought the inn at Weathersfield in 2012 and found the use of the swap shop invaluable to donate things. There was a lot of things that the inn didn't need that were just being stored in lower garage. And we were amazed at how we would drop something off and within 30 minutes, an hour, it would be gone. So there was a need, and I felt, and I went to Brandon because I felt that when it went away, I noticed more people's yards were just getting cluttered with things that they didn't know what to do with. You know, Sevka is not as open, not available, even pre-COVID. They weren't just because of space. And because of the weather, you don't have the yard sales and tag sales. And I think if there was a place like Springfield has where you can have an opportunity for people that can use something, it can go to use versus going into the landfill. So I don't know space-wise if the transfer station is equipped for that still, or if that space went away. I'm not sure logistically how it would be handled, but I do know that the one in Springfield, we've ended up donating things to them over the years, and you feel like, okay, it's going somewhere versus just being tossed. So I'm willing to figure out how to get it going, set it up, run it. I'll set up a volunteer to organization or list of people that can come in and man it, and maybe it's only open for one Saturday a month, or maybe it's Tuesday. I don't know what it is, whatever everyone wants it to be. But it would not be the responsibility of the crew out there. Those guys work really hard. Tyler and I forget the other one's name. They're great, hardworking, and it's enough for them to man the disposable trash as well as all the recycling. So that's my proposal.
I did, I've been around for a long time, and I know that when we kind of decided to disband it, there were some problems with the operation, despite the need. I don't think it was as much the need or the good things that came in. It was the things that people thought were treasures that ended up not being so much. And we'd end up with like windows and glass and broken things, and then there were always the people that came in when they found something that was of significant value, that other people were right there to take them away to actually sell them in a place that they had as a vendor. And then we also had a couple of, there were some people that actually kind of were always around that we ran into a little difficulty with, just kind of administering it. And I think the people that worked there, and I'm not sure whether James and Tyler were there the time it was open.
They were.
Okay, they were. But I think that it's probably fair to ask them about the operations. Ray Stapleton, the head of the highway, is in charge of the transfer station, so obviously we'd want to bring him into it to go over exactly what it may or may not entail. The only thing that I've noticed since it's been gone is that the evolution of social media has dramatically increased since the time it was gone. Facebook, I know, there's a marketplace, and lots of times you'll see stuff posted up, like especially like children's toys. They're pretty awesome, and even sets for outdoor yards, and they'll just say free, and they're scooped right up. So I don't know. I guess we can talk about it or set up some people that may be interested in it without promising anything. But I'd be a little fearful of just automatically saying, yeah, we're right back in it without doing. And I don't know about the building. That may have been taken apart. I think we did have a building where books and toys were, and I think that's been taken down.
When we came in 2012, there was a room, but it was dark and there wasn't organized. But I mean, there was nobody manning it either, and you had to kind of peer in there to see if there was even space to put what you had to donate. So I just think that there's more people living up here due to COVID, and people are spending more time clearing out their homes, and I think it would be a great way to pull people together. If it's not that, then maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's some other way that people can obviously not with COVID going, but there could be like a once a month where people can come and set up a table or whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, we talked about that when Ed was here about doing something for at the old Weathersfield school in the parking lot, and then they ended up doing it up at the Weathersfield in the school up in Ascutney. that would be great too. I just think that there's so much stuff that people, that people have that doesn't, they want to get rid of, but they don't know where to get rid of it.
Paul?
Yeah, hi, this is Paul Tillman. I know we had reasons for getting rid of it, just like Mr. Fuller had stated. And a lot of it was obviously the fact that people just put a lot of stuff in there. People just piled it on the outside. It became an issue with the people there had to take care of it, and they actually then we had to throw it out and spend money on it to get rid of that. Is very noble of wanting to actually man something like that. As of right now, though, I personally on the board, I don't think it's anything that I would support back at the transfer station. I like the idea of actually, if you wanted to do something with a web page and start something where people can, put their stuff and see or something. It's a good opportunity for something in town for. I understand COVID's going on, but you could still have some sort of a thrift store. There's still a thrift store in Lebanon that goes on. As far as books and things, the library does take books. Clothing, the thrift store in Lebanon and obviously Springfield, but that's a big opportunity here in this town for somebody to try and do. I don't think the building's there either for that, but definitely I would want Ray involved in any kind of conversation for this. But there was. It's not the good stuff. There was a lot of the bad stuff that went along with it. That was part of the reason of getting rid of it. People were they were getting in your vehicle before you even had a chance to stop and getting stuff out. They were also looking at other places besides just that little shack. So, we don't want for lack of a better word, the dumpster divers. That's an insurance thing, and you can't have people going in and they just thought, well, I can take this stuff. I guess I can take anything else I want, and that we can't have people in the trash thing. So, but I would definitely want to help and support anything, like I mentioned, the webpage or even kind of a thrift thing. But even if we do something at the school or do something like that, we're still going to end up with stuff at the end of the day, and we have to have money or something to figure out what to do with it when people don't come and take it. I don't think it's going to be a one in and one out. It's going to be, oh great, I can clean my garage out, dump off a whole bunch of stuff, and probably half of it gets taken away that day, if you did a day thing. So I'm not 100% sure on how to fix that problem.
John, go ahead.
When the swap shop was closed, whatever it was, 4 years ago, I thought we didn't do due diligence to try to solve the problems. I think it was just a knee-jerk decision just to close it. I'm not saying that the problems didn't exist, because they did, but what you're proposing with staffing has the potential to solve the problems. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think there's bays there in the existing structure that's still there that could be that right now are underutilized and can be used for the space. And I like the idea that somebody has to, well, and as long as somebody is responsible sitting there and going, no, that's junk,
Right.
pay to get rid of it.
Right, and that's what they do in Springfield. Springfield is very strict about what they take. So.
And that needs to happen. Yes.
Well, and even the fire departments have run yard sales, and they've had to restrict what they would take because they get stuck throwing it away, and that's getting expensive.
Money.
Like, I remember the word, if I recall, they were saying we were generating a complete dumpster load a month, and I always found that a little hard to believe, but that's what we were told.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
This was previously done almost exactly as proposed. That it was opened and run by volunteers. That's how it was done. And it didn't work. And it didn't work for many reasons. In the end, it was taking as much time of the attendants. It was taking too much time for the attendants to clean up the stuff that was left, which John just got done mentioning was, I mean, I talked to the guys several times. They'd have as much as 5 bags they'd take out of there on a Sunday. It would take them, they'd spend a couple hours a weekend cleaning that room because of the crap that would end up in there. And I apologize for that word, but that's basically what was happening. People were dropping out stuff that wasn't really any good. It was junk, and it would just collect, and then we had to dispose of it. I had several conversations with James and Tyler. They did not want that thing anymore. It was taking too much of their time. They did not want to do it anymore. And those are the two guys that are still over there that you spoke of that are so busy and working hard now, they don't have time for it. Unfortunately, I agree. Look, you weren't here when we used to have the piles. Before we went to dumpsters and controlling it. Everything went into a pile. Remember, John?
You talking about the metal pile?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a weed whacker out of there. I had the thing for 12 years. You know.
So you're a beneficiary.
I was. I'm not opposed to this idea, but it didn't work in this.
12 years, pretty good time.
Michael, I don't recall of that ever being staffed with volunteers. Maybe I'm wrong. It was just an open door, and I can understand where that would definitely be a problem.
Yeah.
That's the way it was when we came in 2012. Nobody was there to police it or to
Right.
say yay or nay.
I think if you go back and you look, you'll find that that's how it was created. Was a request from somebody came forward and they proposed the same idea that there would be staffing, volunteer staffing that would keep an eye on things, and it just faded away. That part faded away, but the room was still there.
Other towns do it successfully.
Springfield's not that far away.
Well, maybe it could be done on a trial basis. I mean, let's. I don't know. But we obviously can't go forward without the cooperation of the transfer station and Ray, who heads it up, and so forth and so on. But if there's a change, I agree with John. I mean, or what was, and so we know what didn't work. That's good because that's really handy information.
Yep.
But if there is, if we gave it a shot like a month or 2 or 3 months or whatever, and said, listen, there's no promise to continue this, I don't know, that might be a worthwhile thing. Maybe it's better to run it in the summer, or maybe it's seasonal. Maybe it's not like right here in the dead of snow where there'd be like
I agree.
hard. So, Joey, just a minute.
Just maybe it's something different. Maybe you're not interested, or maybe you are. But I think probably an idea at maybe a neutral location outside of the recycling center, like an event, one time a month or something. You bring your stuff in with you. You carry what you don't give away out, like a giveaway or a swap meet or whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. But if you do it that way, then we're not worried about throwing away things and costing the town, and people still have an outlet kind of to donate their stuff.
Now that I'm thinking about it, if it was seasonal though, and we just kind of shut it off at like October 1st, we wouldn't end up with like really it would be finite, so it would be measured in any event at any time. So,
Well, and I'm sorry.
did you have a question, Brandon?
Yeah, I guess I just had a statement, and it builds off of what Joe was just saying and what Marilee was saying earlier. A virtual swap shop where you don't even have to, take the time out of your day to remove the item from your house to bring it to the transfer station. You just take a picture of it. We enter it into the swap shop webpage on our new website, and that's where all of the items are listed. And if somebody, we share it on Facebook, we share it on Twitter. People can scroll through it, and if there's something that they like, they can contact the owner. Maybe Marilee, you can be involved in that webpage and helping us maintain it, and also sharing it on social media. I think that would be an easy way to do it.
I like that idea. Well, especially if you did it year round.
Yeah, we could do it
We could then.
365 days a year.
Definitely wouldn't be inhibited by weather. We could then. I don't know.
We could certainly build it out.
Just a minute. Yeah, hold it down. John, go ahead.
What we're seeing right now, though, is people just stick all their junk. Excuse me. They're recycling stuff out into the road, and sometimes it disappears, and sometimes it doesn't. So this might help eliminate that, or at least slow it down.
Go ahead, Darren.
I'm gonna correct John, it's called Treasures, but I like Brandon's idea. As you know, the fire department's been doing it for 35 years. And we've got cameras up, and as soon as everyone leaves, the lights are off, we get treasures that you can't sell. In one weekend, we got rid of a dumpster and a half of stuff that was treasures that nobody would take. And it cost us $1,300 to get rid of. So I like Brandon's idea of doing it online. That way the town, no one's stuck with it at any building.
Okay.
Just a thought. Good idea, Brandon.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think for us to leave it right now, I think we don't want to drop it. I think it's a worthwhile thing to think about. And so why don't I just hand it off, or leave it to Brandon, Marilee, or you obviously got to contact Ray. Well, no, maybe not if it's not going to be at the transfer station. Maybe we could post up on our own website right now, anybody that's interested in organizing something, that let's look out there to see who may do it. I know there's a very, very active site, for instance, on Facebook. It's called the Villages of Weathersfield and Surrounding Areas. It has several thousand members now. It's very active in
Really good.
conversation. Yes. Yes, Mike.
Another concern, I try to be reasonable about things. I sounded like I was pretty much flat out against this. I can see a need for it, but I'd want to see like a policy created that says what can't happen, so that we can look at it and say, like, if this is the stuff that's starting to happen, we can come to you and say, these are the problems, you got to fix this. And if you don't, then we close it back down. So again, trial basis, you can, but Joey's idea is good, Brandon's idea is good, your idea is good.
Why don't we just continue this? I'll leave it in the hands of the manager, and then Brandon can either post up on our town's webpage that those people that are interested in maybe helping to see what ideas that we could keep going on this topic, and then either he can bring it back to us at another meeting, or maybe he doesn't need to bring it to us for a meeting. Maybe it'll take off on its own. Any other comments on this at all? Joey?
Whatever, if it ends up being a web page or event or whatever, I'd definitely be interested in helping however I'm able to. So it's something we need. I mean, Dartmouth has Dart List, and it's his college kids selling all kinds of stuff, and they're moving out, and it's wildly successful, and people aren't stuck with junk they don't want anymore, basically, for lack of a better term. So it really is a worthwhile endeavor, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, okay.
Thrift store.
Let's move on to number 5, general fund balance discussion. A meeting or two, okay, on January 19th, I guess. I thought it was, maybe it was the meeting before, but in any event, yeah, no, it was that, because we had another one on the 26th. We started allocating some of the general fund surplus. There's a little confusion in the minutes to see whether or not we actually moved some of these things, so I'll ask for clarification for Brandon. I thought the board had decided, but if we need to have another motion, or we need to decide what to do or not do with this, that's why it's on the agenda to talk about. Why don't you take us through this, Brandon?
Yeah, so on January 19th, we discussed the cumulative general fund balance of $178,890. Previously, the select board allocated some of the fund balance to the police cruiser, and that was for $17,000. We discussed balancing the FY21 budget with $17,486. The select board, it seemed that the board was in favor of the $33,000 in tax relief, the $25,000 for the police cruiser, the $33,000 to fire apparatus reserves, and the $10,000 to the fire equipment reserve. But no vote took place. It was more so that we went around the board and everybody said yes. But in the minutes, we didn't have a vote. So we did not factor the local education tax into the FY22 budget. It was something that we approached and talked to Ed Connors about last week when we were reviewing the projected tax rate. So we need to add in 24,000. Dave and I discussed taking this out of the fund balance. This way it doesn't affect anything, which would leave us with $11,381 for the FY22 contingency.
So I've got a couple of questions. So where is you and I also spoke about the county tax.
Yes, so the county tax is in, that was the county tax for FY21. We're all set with the county tax for FY22.
So is it in here somewhere?
No.
We needed to make up the
Yes.
difference?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so is that the second one where it says balance at 21 budget at 17,486?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. That line item there is the amount of money that was owed to the Windsor County tax. As far as I know, every town pays a tax to the, I believe it was the Woodstock Court building renovation or something. Wasn't there a big bond?
Yeah, there was a
There's
bond.
something.
And
Okay,
you have
that-
county tax.
That number right there was absent from last year's budget, and we had to make it up,
Correct.
okay? It was a mistake. We own them, we gotta make it up.
You want a motion for this?
Not yet. No, because we're gonna do them all as a group, I hope.
Yeah.
So when you get down to where it says it's a little bit misleading, and I wanna clarify it. So the second one from the bottom, where it says FY22 local education tax, what that is that has to do with the disabled veterans that are in town that qualify for tax help. And the state, I got this clarification from Carolyn, the state is up to $20,000 on their assessment. And the town of Weathersfield voted on the floor to authorize it to go to $40,000. So those are the people that live in town, and there's been an increase of $11,000, I think it is here, we're seeing, from last year, over and above, no, it wasn't, it was from 17,000 to added 7, is that right?
That's correct.
Yes. So Brandon and I talked to this. So when you see that topic there, it's a little bit, what happens, the veterans, this is a way of navigating to pay the education taxes for those veterans that live in town. Okay, everyone, I understand that? Because I didn't in the beginning, now I got all set straight. So that's part of that. So $7,000 increase was those people that either moved in town, a couple more that did this. Now, would somebody like to make a motion to put this in the permanent record?
What about the last line, the contingency line?
Yep. That is going to be held for the FY22, yes. The last information that I had, I thought I saw Rosalie on, I don't know if she's still on. Between the finance and Brandon, we are at least holding our own as far as income goes for taxes. So $11,000 isn't really too much to ask, I don't think, to leave that alone. I want to remind the board that we still have fully funded the rainy day fund at $138,000 that can be used for any situation that we may have to get out of. I'd still like to hear a motion to accept this use of the fund balance.
Make a motion that the surplus of $170,890 be dispersed as per the list.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to allocate the cumulative fund balance in the general fund as noted on the list submitted to us on this meeting, February 1st, 2021. Is there any discussion? Yep, John.
On the veterans exemption, I remember the motion, I remember the voting and the affirmative. We have more people taking advantage of that now?
I think there was a couple more, yes.
Okay,
Or whatever their assessed value of wherever the home that they're in.
right.
The listers get this, and then the information is forwarded from the supervisory union, from Ed Connor, to
Right.
give them the right data.
And just so everybody understands that we, the town, still has to pay that education tax. It's just that we're dispersing it amongst all the taxpayers.
Yeah, and it's not, the way I understand it, there's some criteria. So if you're simply a veteran, you don't get to use this. You have to be disabled. I believe it's disabled.
That was
veteran.
going to be my next question,
Yep.
was how we set,
Yep,
who checks the criteria to make sure that,
I believe you
I'm not
have,
accusing anybody of taking advantage of it, but I think we need to make sure they're not.
nope, I believe they submit documents to the town to prove that they are. That it's a request.
Okay.
It's a request that's made to do that.
What's the total up to now
Of what?
that we're relieving in taxes? This is in addition to, or is
No,
this the
no,
total
that's
for
it.
the
This is a
next
total.
year?
That's it.
24,000 is the total.
Okay, for the whole year?
Yep.
Coming?
Of education,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
It
My
went
understanding-
up 7,000.
Yeah, it went up 7,000. Last year it was 17,000.
okay,
And so they pay the full town tax.
right.
It's just the education
Yep.
tax. That's what I think anyway. The other part that I'd like to note here when we're into discussion on this is the lists above here are exactly why we're not asking for information on, money on separate articles. I believe that will come on the presentation for town meeting day. So we are taking care of filling reserve funds with money that we've already got in our hand. So that's why when we see the sample ballot here that's coming up later on, you're not gonna see any reserve articles to ask for additional funds. Mike?
I just want to clarify something that John just said, or you said, about paying the local education tax. If these people are disabled, the income sensitivity, what is it, HS 144, I think that you file with your income tax, is going to have the state offset. So there's only going to be a portion of that left that would be theirs responsibility. It's not the whole tax, which is what you said.
Nope. It's up to, Weathersfield, there's a statewide law that allows for $20,000 exemption.
Yes.
We here in this town doubled it and went to 40. And I remember on the floor, it was a floor vote. So, I mean, they could have, for instance, their grand list card could be 200,000. They're gonna have to pay the balance on 160. It's just for the 40. So this isn't some big giveaway.
you're right.
It's not a giveaway at all.
Okay. Then it's not even what I said it was. Because it's only based on,
A percentage.
yes, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
If they qualify for income sensitivity.
If they, yes, they have to put the whole package together,
Right.
yes. Any other questions about the motion that's on the floor? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The web page, I don't know why we got select board web page. It's a town web page, review and discussion, right? The towns?
I just wanted to focus on the select board
Okay.
part of the website in this meeting.
Okay,
We're still going through the website and fine tuning it, but we wanted select board input on the select board webpage before we started making changes.
okay.
Would you like to put that up on the projector?
Yep, whatever you'd like to do, help me out, because it's your floor.
Yep. Go to Google Chrome and pull up the select board part of our website.
I can make a comment right now,
Yep.
real quick.
Yep, go ahead.
You got the wrong date for me, term expires. Should be 2021,
Okay.
because I'm on the ballot this year.
Yep. That's cool. That's the school one. Go down one more. Sorry, you can't really see it.
No.
Go back. It's the select board webpage. Go back. Go to government. And then go over to the right.
Last one.
There you go. So that's the select board webpage there. So we'll make that change for Mike Todd and update
Okay,
his.
how about
his
making
different-
another one, because we've been doing this for so long now, and I see no reason that we're gonna stop it. When it says that we meet on first and third Monday of each, we've been meeting at 6:30, so it says 7, but I mean, every one of our meetings for the last 6 or 8 have been 6:30, and I think, obviously, when we start having regular meetings, although we have one more, and it seems to work out a little bit better.
Yes, it does.
Any comments about the information here that anybody'd like to see, or,
So clicking the Zoom box will take you right to the live meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. A quick link to Zoom.
Good.
On the left-hand side, would you like to see all of the town policies under one tab, maybe? All of the policies the board has adopted and ordinances. We can put anything on the left-hand column over there. Actually,
So you're proposing putting them there?
yeah, we can put them over on the left column there. I can't get to the keyboard right now.
I thought you were gonna say all on the left, we were just gonna put all our happy faces.
Yes, and would you like your photos on the right,
Oh God, I had to go down that road.
in the column on the right?
I don't know the answer. Any comments about the whole webpage itself?
Good, Brandon, good job.
So far, so
I
good.
wonder is that the appropriate place for policies, or should it be in multiple places?
Yeah, we would definitely put it in multiple places,
Okay.
but maybe putting them over there. If there's any other information that you'd like to see on your webpage, definitely let us know and we'll put it on there.
Is the contact information on there?
So when you click on, go ahead and click on David Fuller.
I got a police report.
So when a resident clicks on David Fuller or any board member, they just type their name, their email address, the subject, they type out a message, they click submit, and then that message goes directly to your email address.
To your town
Yes.
email? Good.
Might want to check the Zoom address if I try to go to the Zoom thing.
So maybe in the next meeting, I'll compile a list of, if you guys want to email me any requests, and then I'll compile a list of recommendations and see
Yep.
if the board would like to make those changes.
The only thing that I've
Maybe-
heard negatively, kind of, if you will, is that they, and I don't know whether it's a website problem or an office or whatever, I mean, it's always the same thing, kind of like either posting meetings or minutes to the meetings or some such a thing like that. So I don't know if this website will make it easier or, I just don't know. So, for me, when I go on this site, and I've always had a lot of difficulty with the school site, as we saw when Olivia hit the button, we don't seem to, I guess we do, but I sure would like it where it came on the Weathersfield school site, because it tends to have all the information go to the SU.
So.
I really like this, where you if you're interested in the town, you have the town, it seems easier. But,
So if we were just scrolling through the website and we wanted to go to select board, we just click here.
yep.
The one change we did make is there's no section for the packet. That's actually just found under the agenda. So when you go to the meeting itself, you'll see regular meeting, and you'll see the agenda, you'll see the packet.
Okay.
Does the homepage have a contact? I'm just, there was nothing on the select board page that said to contact, blah, blah, blah. I know it's a different color, which is an indication if you click on it, it does something.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's good.
Yeah.
So you find that part
That's
by
the
just-
homepage right there. See that? See the contact?
No,
Yep.
that's good.
Yeah, so when you go on that, right, Brandon, like John just said, if you go on any one of those blue, yeah, it's gonna be able to light up, so just push that. We're gonna get, okay, it goes right to the Office of Animal Control, so, yep, that's good. Yep,
And that's the case with all these.
Where did you find the contacts from, under government? Under the drop-down of government?
Yeah, you just click on government and that'll bring you your full contact sheet. We're still updating this with all the correct information.
Just as a novice, internet user, I guess, at
Yep.
best.
Yep.
I typically look for that contact to be right there where, like, about government, right in that, no, not in government, it would be one of those headings.
it'd be an
It would say
icon.
contacts.
It would be an icon,
It would
yes.
just say contacts.
Correct.
Right there, contact us or whatever. You'd click on that right there and then your contacts would drop from,
You're right.
right from there.
I've seen them that same way, yes. Yep,
So
exactly.
So it's not hid, so the contact us isn't hidden under another tab.
Like the government, exactly.
Yes.
Yep, it's good.
But it's, yes, I like it. That's what I'm most used to seeing, that's all. I think make it easy as possible for people to find us.
another thing we did here is, this is our first night on Zoom tonight. It's the same Zoom link for all board, committee, and commission meetings. So we have the same, it's the same link, it's the same access code, the same password, the same phone number for planning, ZBA, select board, prudential committee, or recreation committee, any committees in town. So it's just a one link, it's just click this link and boom.
Okay,
you're-
good, because
you're in the
that's
meeting.
good, because there's been 2 or 3 meetings of the planning board that I went on, and they said this link doesn't work.
Yes.
And then I remember having to either I texted somebody to tell me I think I did you one time, I said,
did.
and then all of a sudden you gave me a phone number, but everybody out in the public is not gonna do that.
We had that at our last meeting,
Yeah,
last
good,
week
good.
also.
Who's going to be the host when all these meetings are going on? Like right now, who's the host?
Olivia is the host for this meeting. For the planning commission meeting, it would be Chris Whitten. For recreation committee, it would be Olivia again. Prudential committee, that would be me.
And they're all familiar with looking who's got their yellow hand up or whatever, or trying to waving their arms or something like that.
It'll be people will be learning how to use it. It's new here. We've been using GoToMeeting. We signed up for GoToMeeting in the very beginning of the pandemic. It got us through the pandemic. We signed up for a year membership, and that membership's coming to an end. We've already almost been in it for a year.
Good.
So we decided to switch over to Zoom for the hand raising and other features of Zoom. But
A lot better than GoToMeeting.
Yeah, it seems to be from what you've been describing so far.
Well, the whole thing with this whole thing has evolved. I mean, it's almost been a year now, and in the very beginning, everything seemed to be hard, including, everybody just not wanting to even get into virus stuff. So it seems to be more of a matter of fact that we're just gonna be living with it for a while. Any other questions about the select board portion of Joe?
It's more a general website question. Do you have a link on there to the online bill pay for the taxes? And maybe you could set one up for water too. I think people would probably utilize it.
so we'd go to I want to make a payment.
Yep. Boom.
And that's tax payments, town clerk payments, but you're definitely right, we should add a tab for making water payments. So yeah,
And
Get that created.
what are the town options for making payments? Is it all credit card? Are there ACH, PayPal, any of that?
so it's through paygov.us right now, and there is a fee associated with doing that. We started these conversations last year, and we're definitely looking for a place where there's no fee. but that's difficult to find. Right now, these fees are very high, and we understand that, but we haven't figured out a way to get around it. From a local government standpoint, it's a lot different than a Scotney Market or the Jiffy Mart. We have to follow pretty strict rules and regulations when it comes to taking these payments.
When you're talking about fee, what is it?
3%.
How much?
3%.
So if you're paying $2,000 on a tax payment, that's
It's less than mine. I just changed my system and it's 3.2.
oh wow.
Paul?
Just, this is not necessarily on the select board page, but on the main page. If you go to the main page, down in the bottom right-hand corner, it does have office hours. And then right below that, it says staff directory. So if you click on staff directory, you'll get the contact information. But under the office hours, I think right on this main page, because this is where people don't dig in a lot, they'll look and they'll say, oh, okay, Monday 8 to 6, I can come in and see the listers at 8 o'clock on Monday. And their office, I don't know what their office hours are. I say, the land use at 8 o'clock on Monday. And so I think we should have somehow.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Would you like to see that right here on the
Well,
right hand?
I think people aren't gonna dig around for the time. They're gonna go to this webpage and go, oh, look, office hours, Monday 8, and they're gonna call up or come in, and then they're gonna get frustrated because the
Yep.
land use isn't here, or the listers aren't, or town clerk.
The town clerk, she comes in at 9.
But I mean, I don't know what they're, but we have multiple schedules for all kinds of different groups in this building.
You could maybe just put a note down there that says for land use, for listers, or any
Oh, yeah.
any other office, see
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
specific,
Yep.
click on that specific office, and that way the hours are over there.
Or something. That's been a contention I've heard from some people too, is the
Yeah.
fact that they don't know who's where and what, so.
This is live now though, right? Brandon?
Yep,
Yep.
Thought so.
it's so much nicer too. I mean, these are little nitpicky things. This is a great job, Brandon, this is good.
So this tab right here, purchasing and bids. So anytime there's a bid, which we're about to put out an RFP for the audit, so you just click here, and then you'll see those bids, our policy, and so forth. So that's where our purchasing and bids will live. Online payments, trash and recycling. We got resident resources, applications and permits, boards and commissions would bring you to this page, and we're still building it out. So you'll see it being built out over the days. But anyways,
Applications and permits are like the zoning bylaws, subdivisions, town plan, all that stuff. Are those available somewhere?
yep. So if you click on here, you'll find
State roads, access town roads, subdivision
Subdivision
applications.
so that's what we have on there right now.
Yeah, because I don't think we're printing zoning bylaw books or subdivision books anymore,
Okay.
only by request, last I knew. Because we used to print them and they'd just sit here, we didn't sell them, and they change, and then you got a bunch of books sitting there you paid for that.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I think one of the things that we should do is, this is good for the select board here, I think as a planning commission group, we should go through with Chris
Yep.
and maybe invite you, Brandon.
Yep.
And we'll go through the planning commission one, which is another highly used part of this website, so we don't have to take up a lot of time here with that. I'll get it on the schedule, I'll get with you and find out
Okay.
when that's a good time.
Sounds
If
good.
It's okay with everyone.
This has,
Good.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This has less to do with the website than it does the SAPA cameras. I noticed that they're panning, and that's the Zoom camera,
Yep.
and this is what's going out on Zoom also.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if the SAPA cameras are picking the screen up.
No, not right now. Are you talking about?
I'm just making a point that, like, especially for town meeting, that we gotta make sure the SAPA cameras are picking up the screen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other comments about the website? Okay. Tomorrow morning, or as soon as you can get this, because you guys just triggered a bell on me right now, and I should have done this under my comment earlier, but I want you to put this up on the website now. Because last year, at our meeting after the town meeting, we dragged on appointments of different board members for a few weeks. So I'd like to make it known that right now even, and we're gonna take advantage of it at any time, that there are open seats, that appointments will be made on March 4th, which will be the first meeting of the new board. Voting will be March 2nd. There will be 5, for instance, I'm not gonna get them all down here, but there's gonna be, the zoning board is 5 persons that are up for 1 year each. There's a couple of planning board members seats will be available, as well as a list. So I'd like you, Brandon, or Olivia, or somebody tomorrow to please identify what those lists may be, and then get them up as soon as we can onto the website, offer for opportunity for people to serve the town.
Yep.
I should have done that in the beginning, but I'm gonna do it at the end of the close of the meeting as well, so, Paul, go ahead.
The other quick thing is on that, when you put that note up, anybody that's already there on a board that wants to continue to be on a board for one of the seats that's open, they need to submit a letter.
Yep.
So maybe how that process works.
Yep,
It
and-
doesn't mean they're kicked off, it means they've
Nope.
got to resubmit themselves.
But now's the time to do it, because if boards, I remember a year ago that we ran into a little problems because I didn't think that there was sufficient time, and now's the time. It's February 1st,
Yep.
and it's a month.
Who got messed up with that?
So Olivia, maybe tomorrow you can compile a list of everybody that is serving boards right now, and send them an email and just let them know.
And then generically as well, because this is the time to ask for new people that would like to be involved in serving. So, Mike?
We also have one that's resigned
Well, we
at
have
the
a-
planning
we'll have a
commission.
couple of
I don't know if
spots.
you want to put that on there or whatever.
That'll be part of the couple of spots, yeah.
Well, I would suggest that go to the town manager, and then we'll put that on our agenda for the next meeting.
That,
Well,
that,
was
that
that-
would be different because that's an appointment that would come from here
I know that.
also,
But that's-
but
but we-
differently.
But
That-
we, but
That's
we,
the same thing he's
but
talking
we
about.
would, because we do the appointing,
Yes,
my take is that we would do the accepting of the resignation. This board.
yes.
Yep,
So if you have that
yep,
paper,
I will send it.
submit it to the
Yep.
manager, and then it'll go through, and we'll put it on the agenda for
I'll do
the
that.
February, whatever it is.
I did
We
send
have a
it to you.
holiday, we haven't got that far yet, either the 17th or 18th. But
Brandon has it, Brandon has it.
if that is still absent, though, then we need to be able to identify and solicit members of the community who may want to serve. And that's what we're doing now. We're trying to offer opportunity.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other comments about the website, the board section of it? We gotta move here. Let's go to town meeting presentation discussion. Brandon told me today that he met with John Campbell, the moderator. I hope that went well. But I'll give it to you, Brandon. You take off on this.
Yeah, so the principal clerk and I met with John Campbell today. He has requested to be housed upstairs during the town meeting. So the principal clerk will be upstairs with the moderator, and then Chauncey has offered to also help, and she doesn't know this yet, but
No, I know, she knows she's
volunteered.
Chauncey volunteered. I just didn't explain what I needed done yet, but she'll, if she agrees, of course, would sit downstairs here and connect with Olivia on the PowerPoint presentation. The reason Mr. Campbell requested to do that is he just didn't want to be in the room with so many people due to COVID. So that's.
So, are we gonna be able to communicate without running up and down the stairs?
Yes.
Or, okay, because that's not gonna work. Okay. Okay,
So Chauncey would be in communication with Olivia, who would be upstairs.
I hope all that works.
So Olivia's the one that's gonna keep track of because a lot of people that want to speak are just going to be sitting there maybe doing
Yep.
this as opposed to,
Yep.
is there any way at the beginning of the meeting, I mean, you can go to participants and raise your hand. There's two different ways to try
Yes.
to be recognized.
So that's what the moderator and the principal clerk will be doing upstairs.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted them sitting side by side
Okay.
together. So she'll be running everything on the computer, and then, the moderator will be running the meeting, and then if somebody raises their hand, Olivia can notify the moderator. And we'll be down here presenting information, which brings us to key speakers.
And the moderator will be somewhere on the screen, so we'll know when he's passing the question off to one of us or to you.
Yes, we'll see him right up here on the projector.
Right.
And all of us will also be on camera via the iPads.
Okay.
But the iPad audio will be muted. So our audio will be feeding in through these microphones here, and then our Logitech system there. And then, of course, we'll have this camera and the two SAPA cameras.
I'm going to make a request that I hope everybody adheres to, and that's to keep your mask on and up, period. We're setting an example, and I think it's important that we set the right example.
You mean like this?
No, over your nose. It doesn't muffle you enough, you can still be heard, and I think we need to set the right example.
I like oxygen. I like oxygen.
I'm reading down through the list here, and I don't even know, like a while ago, I spoke with John, and he's obviously the highway representative, but I'll be happy to take the first one, which is just a simple matter of introductions, and then let the I don't know who's gonna give the service award, but my suggestion is that when we get into the budget, the numbers type thing, that Brandon certainly, he's the person that's developed this, and I think given our financial picture and given what we've done, I really think the presentation will go well. It doesn't need to be cluttered too much. We did change the solid waste situation a little bit. I don't know if that's completely finished, but is there anybody else? I'd like to hear what anybody else does, because we got to move along the meeting. So we have one more meeting to actually firmly decide something on.
I'll do solid waste if you need.
Yep, what everybody's doing. It doesn't have to be long.
So basically what I'll do from this point, I'll create the PowerPoint presentation, and in the next meeting I'll give a test run of that PowerPoint presentation, see if the board
Yep,
has
that'd be
any
good.
changes to make. And what about the service award? Who wants to?
Usually the chair does it.
Okay, but I would like to see the draft of the information. I haven't been involved. Be happy to do it. I'm sure that's getting formulated now. Whatever's going to be read about it.
Before I send it, I'll send it to you tomorrow, what she sent in.
One of the dangers in any one of these things, which is what our, when Brandon and I were drafting for instance, the select board's insert to the town meeting, to the town report, the danger is leaving somebody out. I'm glad that it says that, well, I don't even want to discuss it right now because I'm not sure that it's public yet. But everybody knows what I mean by saying that when you're talking about the so many committees and volunteers in town, that the minute you start naming, you say, uh-oh, I forgot one. So that's where the careful has to be.
It was well written.
Yep.
Without.
Yep. But I would offer that as well for anybody who wants to speak, whether it's the highway, or whether it was John with you, or whether it's Paul with the solid waste or whatever. So you do have to speak in general terms sometimes, rather than get down into a detail, because somebody will always be sitting, listening. I actually think we may get more people that are going to be tuning in online, because it's easy to stay at home. They don't have to go to the school. So that would be okay. That doesn't mean that they speak, it just means that they've logged on.
It'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
the number, because you're gonna see participants, but
Yep.
you aren't gonna know how many people, well, does SAPA know the number that are watching? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, and SAPA just commented, and they said that everything that we do on Zoom here also appears on SAPA if we
Right,
share
that's
if we share our
walkable, but I
screen.
don't think if you're on Comcast, I don't think they know, or VTEL, I don't think they know who's watching. But that doesn't matter.
No.
It'd just be interesting to kind of
see.
come up with a number to see how well this works.
Yep, I just don't know. Anybody else have any comments about the town meeting presentation? I mean, we've been walking through the budgets and we kind of know what's going on that way, at least headed downhill. This will just be in a package form, and it'll be a presentation, so that Brandon has slides, and it's gonna be cash and prizes and pictures. Okay? And you'll have that, whatever, ready to go, at least show us a small snapshot of it at the next meeting.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be, you told me there was a holiday coming up, so it's gonna be February what?
16th.
Okay. Let's go to fire department contract update. You wanna lead us into that, Brandon?
Yeah.
I know you've been meeting with them, and I know that, just refresh everybody's memory, that we signed a contract I don't know when that was. Gosh, time flies. Was it the end of?
December 7th.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yep, go ahead.
I don't think we signed one. We voted on one,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Brandon can clarify what the status of it is.
Yeah, so the board voted to authorize the chair to sign the contract. The chair has not signed the contract at this time, but he can, at his discretion, whenever he feels, I guess, he wants to. Between December 7th to date, I've met with both fire departments several times. We reviewed the signed contracts, and each department has some proposed amendments to the contract.
Are we back on where people can hear us? Because I see like not so much information anymore. So if everybody is online who's with us, or I don't know what's going on, so I don't want to lose them. Okay, I don't know if that means, okay.
Darren, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Josh Campo?
I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, Brandon. Lead us into
Okay.
what, because people will catch up, or they'll watch the tape, or I'm not sure, but we can't
Yep.
hold the meeting up.
So between December 7th to date, we've met with both fire departments several times. And we went through the contract section by section, and we made, we clarified certain parts of the contract. We discussed how we would execute on certain sections of the contract. And there were still some items that each department is requesting amendments to. Some of the amendments are very, very simple, like the first proposed amendment from West Weathersfield. It's just page 1, change effective date from July 1st, 2020 to March 1st, 2021. So the contract hasn't been signed. It says it was effective on July 1st, 2020, but it couldn't be because it hasn't been signed yet. So we would need to change the effective date to March 1st. The second is to change the term from 3 years to 1 year. That was one of the items that West Weathersfield is proposing. I would prefer not to only do a 1-year contract personally. I would like at least 2 years, 2 to 3 years, to execute on our new contract. The third change is another typo, change numeric to match written language of 180 days in section F and G. That's on page 2, section 1.2. The writing and the numerics don't match, so it's That's another typo. Would you like me to continue going through all of them? Okay. The fourth change that West Weathersfield is requesting is on page 2, section 1.2. Change the length of time to remedy issues and events of termination from 10 days to 30 days. Their reason for that change is that 10 days is not enough time to resolve an issue, depending on the issue type. I personally do think that we could move that to 30 days, and I think that would be a satisfactory amount of time to resolve an issue. 10 days might be too limited. Page 3, section 2.2 EMS, we need language allowing firefighters to work under Golden Cross Ambulance's license. The reason for that change is there are members of the West Weathersfield Fire Department that are currently working under the Golden Cross's license. That section doesn't allow them to do that. We made the language really tight in the contract. Dale and I did that early on, but I think we can amend that so that members can work under Golden Cross's license as they are right now.
Let's stop right there, because
Yep.
we're biting off a little bit really hard subjects now. So what does the board think about that particular, the language that's in there now, and or the proposed change or whatever, Paul?
Do you want to pick and choose here, or do you want to start and go down through them?
Well, yeah, yes, I think the smart thing to do is take them one by one.
So,
Because when we get into some groups, well, what happened, when I was listening to them was, a date change isn't that significant.
Right.
But some of these other things now are coming down into more significant. So, Mike.
So the third one is, you'd be changing the numeric to 90 days, correct? Wouldn't that be consistent, or that, which one are you changing?
We're gonna move to 180 days, which was the numeric.
Okay,
Is that okay?
I thought it was proposed down to 90 before, that's where the 90 came from, because originally it was 180.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, so you can't hear me now? I have to log in on my phone. Have no preference on 180 or 90, just wanted them to match because they didn't.
Yeah, I caught that too, Josh, and I mentioned it to Brandon, and I really don't care either, as long as they match.
Going?
Let's go with 90.
Okay.
Okay, 90. So if I may,
Yep, go ahead.
I think 1, 2, 3, and 4 then are all set. Number 2, changing the term from 3 years to 1 year. I agree with Brandon. I think it's better to leave it at 3 years or 2 years, 2 or 3 years. The contract can be modified at any time.
Yeah.
That's language that's in it. So if something's not working, it can be fixed.
I was gonna, when I heard that, I was gonna suggest that, but you already did, so I don't need to. Did you have a question on that term, Paul?
I was just going to say 2 myself.
Okay. Any other questions before that goes on the terms? No.
I'll make a motion to adopt the 1, 2, 3, first 4 changes. I'm sorry. The first, the third, and the fourth, and leave the second the way it is
At 3 years.
at 3 years.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the first 4 changes as noted. Any other discussion?
Just one question. We got 2 different lists here with different requests for changes. Are we trying to make a uniform contract with both, or are we going to offer each a different contract?
No, it's a unified contract.
Then, okay.
Then perhaps my motion should recognize that these first 4 changes that we're adopting now are the proposals from the West Side Fire Department.
But will be incorporated into a unified contract.
Yes. I amend my motion.
Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Any other discussion on the first 4 items of change? The motion on the floor to accept the first 4 changes that are noted in tonight's meeting, February 1st, 2021. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, let's go on to whatever, number 5
Number
change.
And I'll make a motion to accept that language being added to section 2.2. EMS language that is recommended by West Weathersfield Fire. Okay, Tom. The language recommended by West Weathersfield.
Can you read that out loud, please?
Need language allowing firefighters to work under Golden Cross ambulance licenses added to section 2.2 on page 3.
Yeah, I'll second that for discussion.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the wording under what section is it, 3.2?
2.2.
2.2,
Page 3.
on the proposed contract. Any discussion?
Yes,
Yes.
that's my only discussion. Golden Cross is completely fine with our firefighters working under their license on both sides.
Any
Correct.
conversation that I've had for clarity about that is the town does not have any say about whether or not that is. Golden Cross Ambulance is a totally separate entity that we contract with for services for the town. So that's up to them to, not the town, it's up to them to establish the relationship with who they want to put under their licenses. It's not the town that's going to interfere with that. So that's my understanding. That's come right from Dale Gerard,
Then
who owns
why-
Golden Cross.
Then we don't need anything in the contract.
Yes, because our contract currently says they can't.
Oh, obviously, I understand that. Let's just take that out completely.
Well, not necessarily, because Golden Cross is the contracted carrier for ambulance, and there are individuals that are both in Ascutney and West Weathersfield who would like to work with them.
Right, but
So I don't have I think it ties together nicely. Golden Cross just happens to be the contract that we.
do you want to change Golden Cross and put the town's contracted one?
That's who it is.
I understand that.
That's who it is.
I know what he's saying, but he's saying in the contract, do you want the contract to say the town's contracted provider or something like that, rather than naming Golden Cross? Because, not that it would change, but
No.
it could.
It could.
Unlikely, but you're right, it could.
Doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Hope it doesn't.
No, I hope it doesn't either. No, I hope it doesn't either.
You could put that in parentheses. You could, that happens to be them now, and I don't know whether they have a, is it just an annual contract with us, or is it like a 5-year contract with, I don't know that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it
Because I
is.
think state law indicates that anybody here has to work under the towns. They can't go work under Springfield and
No.
work here.
No, it's the other way around. It's the
other way around.
persons that are, the persons that are interested in providing a little bit of care have to be associated with that liability of the carrier, which happens to be Golden Cross.
Right, it has to be.
We're not talking about fire here, we're talking about
No, I know.
medical care.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Oh, Paul, what is your concern?
The concern, I wanted to clarify what was going on with this line item and making sure that the wording was correct in the contract. So as of right now, under Golden Cross, you guys and Ascutney are able to work under that. I wanted to make sure that Golden Cross was okay with that. I wanted to know if anybody from the town had contacted Dale and made sure that that was okay before we started writing something in. And then Mr. Fuller, the chair, just made a comment that it doesn't matter what the town says. It goes on. It goes on what you guys have to do with a carrier, because we just contract with them, and it's not really us. So that's when I made a comment about, well, if that's the case, then let's take the wording out. Obviously, because right now it says you can't, but take the wording out, and then you guys work with Golden Cross or whoever. But Mr. Fuller indicated he wanted to leave that in, which is perfectly fine too. I think it's a great thing, and I want it in there. I just wanted it worded right and make sure that everybody was on the same page with it.
So, and to that point, Dale, I know Dale has been in the loop. I've been in contact with Dale on a couple of things. I know Brandon has. And my understanding from my conversation with Brandon today is if the board adopts this amendment, then it would go to Brandon and Dale to actually figure out the wording to go into the agreement.
Okay.
And then we would all see that wording.
Good. That's exactly it.
Everybody okay with adopting, John, go ahead.
Just one, at our December meeting, when we first reviewed this, we talked about combining 2.2 and 2.11. They both are emergency medical, and they probably should be under the same heading.
I remember that. I remember that point. That's just organizational.
Would we like to combine those two?
Under the same heading.
Or at least consecutive, so they aren't in two different spots.
Yeah, like 9 points away.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's just bring them together on the same page.
And that was section,
2.1 and 2, what was the first section, Joe?
All you'd have to do is renumber the,
2.2 and 2.11.
yeah.
okay.
So that's 9 points away. So
Yes.
if you made it 2.2 and 2.3 and just bump the numbers down, you're all set.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
There's a motion on the floor to adopt number 5, I believe it is. Is that number 5?
yes.
As amended to include the information shared between the ambulance carrier and it will be to the west side, but it also incorporates the Ascutney. So it's both fire departments.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Do you want the amendment to say that language will be worked out between the departments?
No, that's already.
We already
that's
understand that?
That's
Okay.
an understanding of the board.
Good.
It's gonna be worked out between the carrier, which is
Yep.
Golden Cross, and the town manager.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good. Remember, we're still on the train here for one contract, so this is applicable to both.
Yes.
Next one.
Principal clerk duties and responsibilities for the fire department. West Weathersfield would like to see principal clerk written into the contract. I personally disagree with this. She works, or the principal clerk position works for the town manager. The town manager's already listed as the contact and the liaison or problem solver, whatever it is. A call would come in, would probably go through the principal clerk anyway, but I don't think you want to put the principal clerk, duties and responsibilities and authority and all that stuff just doesn't, I'm sorry, it just doesn't belong over there. It belongs over here with the town manager.
Can I comment?
Yes.
So the reason West Weathersfield brought this to our attention and the reason they want to add it into the contract is because in the case a new town manager came in, if I resigned or something happened, a new town manager can reorganize the office and eliminate the principal clerk position. And since the principal clerk position is so vital to this contract, as in the monthly reports, and several of the administrative duties and responsibilities are tied into her job description, they were a little bit nervous about signing off on those items because it would be a burden if they had to complete the monthly reports, all of the administrative work required of compiling all of the data for those monthly reports and so forth. So they were looking to just assure that somebody from the town would be doing that.
Joe?
I agree with Mike. I think this is something that should be more on your end. One of the things they're asking for was to shorten the contract to a year, and then they give you a reason for this add-in section at the other side of the mouth, kind of, so to speak. So I feel like this should all go through you, regardless of what the principal clerk is doing. You should have your thumb on that, and in the event that you do leave and they're worried about losing that position, the contract can be modified at any time.
Mike?
The contract could also indicate those services as town responsibilities, period, not the principal clerk, but just town responsibilities. So that,
So that, I'm completely good with Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's how Brandon come up with it, but essentially it's just, there's some significant reports that Brandon would like to see. We talked about that stuff in length. He thinks that, at current position, Olivia can be a great help at that. So, however, I am not going to advocate entering an agreement based on who is in any current position. I'm going to look at it as if, those people may not be in those positions and what might happen if it's interpreted differently.
correct.
But we could say the same thing about you.
Yeah.
And you should.
But he agreed with what I said, as long as we identify the responsibilities within the
You just need the
town.
structure.
Yeah,
Just put the structure in, that's all you need. Who does it,
right.
what position does
Take
it?
the
So
name out.
is the board happy with leaving it alone?
Well,
Or or not adopting a change, or adopting a change, or, what is this, item 6?
Yeah, we would need to add language to section 2.5 monthly reports, section 2.6 strategic plan. Let me just go through the rest of them. Section 2.10, which is burn permits issued by the fire warden. We just want that data, which we're getting right now. We're in a group chat. So that data would be extracted and then compiled into a report. And section 3.1, annual budget. So we would just add language stating that it would be the town's responsibility to assist the fire departments in compiling that information.
So moved. Second. Paul's got the motion. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to, is it item number 6, is that where we're at?
yeah,
Yes.
item 6.
Item 6, which will simply say that the town will assist the fire departments in collecting the data associated with the requests of the town manager. How's that?
I've got a fundamental question on the, whether or not there should be a section for definitions. In the definition of the town manager might want to say, town manager, acting town manager, or town manager designee. We could be in a situation where we don't have a town manager for a little while. Hopefully not, but we don't have a section for definitions.
Or absence of the manager, in any case, it could be
Yeah.
on vacation.
Acting, do we even have an we've never designated. Like,
Town manager.
take care of yourself, Brandon.
He's
Don't
just he's all full of himself in a bag of chips.
Okay.
Most been made, and seconded. Well, that's a discussion for another day, John.
Yes, it is.
I get it, but not just for the fire points.
No,
It's-
you're right.
It's for any point.
General.
Any point. Motion been made and seconded to allow the changes for item number 6 as noted. Did everybody understand what the changes were? It means that the town will help and assist with the fire departments of collecting the associated data with whatever happened at the fire scene in order to assemble the reports that note that.
And,
Yes.
and that's basically, the town manager and the town is asking for that.
Yes.
It's not normal work that these guys have to do.
Right.
So that's why we should assist them.
No, but yes, because, yeah, so it's undue
Yep.
paperwork. We're trying to-
Absolutely.
It's paperwork, that's what it is. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? What is item number 7?
Remove but not limited to, add language stating both fire departments will be notified in the event of a policy change. So in section 2.9, it says the fire departments will need to follow a list of policies, including but not limited to other policies that they could fall under that they don't know about. So they just want all the policies that they will need to abide by listed, and to remove not limited to, so that it prevents them from falling under a policy that they're
Don't know about.
not aware of.
So would it be pertinent to take out all the language where it lists the policies and just put all town policies? Since they're asking for multiple copies and they're making it incumbent on us to provide them with any changes. I'm just thinking if we give a list and we miss something, shorten it by a paragraph.
I would rebuttal that. I don't think we're interested in doing the research on those policies. The policies should be listed forth in the agreement. It's already come up, like Brandon sent us a bunch of policies. Some of the policies sent were not even listed in the agreement. Some of the ones in the agreement that were listed were not sent. So we just wanted black and white. List the policies you think we should need to abide by, and Brandon seemed agreeable to that change.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind.
My
I
only
don't
point
mind.
is, there's a lot of policies that would never have anything to do with the fire departments. We passed several on our bookkeeping department that there are policies, so you guys are gonna have a copy of it, which is okay, but it's a lot of paper.
Well, we only want policies that we're going to be held to task on, John.
That makes sense, but that's not how it's written.
So it says all policies the fire department will follow must be listed.
Yep.
Well, that becomes subjective. Probably not, but it could be.
Any other comments about item number 7, is it?
Yes.
Change? What does the board want to do? Just adopt the change as written, or what? If that's the case, then put a motion on the floor. Joey?
Make a motion to approve the changes to section 2.9 as noted.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the changes noted to contract, one contract, remember, we're on the same train here. Section 2.9, as changes as noted. Any other comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now what do we got? Item number 8.
Add in a section. West Weathersfield Fire Department is looking to add in a section that identifies the boundaries in the contract for each fire department on each side of town.
That's in the old contract, isn't it?
I didn't see it in the old contract. I believe Mr. Campo was telling me that it was in the contract before that contract. So I'll pull up that contract and
I don't think it's changed.
okay.
I think that's a good request because.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
No
Nope,
question.
me neither. Make a motion to accept that, or add that section.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve a new section, right?
Yep.
Under request number 8, dealing with boundaries about both fire departments. The boundaries being landmarks in town associated with dispatch calls. I want to make it really clear about that, because somewhere in there, we're going to have to also incorporate the dispatch in this, because a couple times here, they've given addresses, and then it turns out that it's not necessarily totally accurate, especially if you're right on the line. That's just I think that might be just a human mistake, but when you have when you have these addresses set, they are what they are. Paul?
Would it make sense to have like if it's the center road or whatever, to have a neutral zone? So that way we don't get into that, that it's either side. It's the discretion of the dispatch at that point.
I don't know what it is, but my guess is,
No, John?
like all these things are, it doesn't matter where you are, because I've heard the calls, I've listened to the calls, and sometimes the maps or the GPS locators or something are off and they can't quite get it right, or there's an accident or something, and then it's not exactly where they turned out to be, because somebody was in general. So in other words, let's say it's on I-91, okay, at mile marker 62. Well, somebody might have read that wrong, and it might not be mile marker 62, it might be like 62 and a half. So I think you're right. I don't know what that means, whether or not they...
Because otherwise I feel you're going to have the same problems that we already have, where
Could
all of a
be, I don't
sudden it's like, oh my goodness.
Chair,
Go ahead.
So I think that clear, concise guidelines help. As an example, there was a call, I don't know, a month and a half ago, I could be off a little bit, came in as an Escutney call near just this side, or just the Escutney side of Gravelin Road. Darren got there, reported that it was in fact on the other side of Gravelin Road, asked how we handle. We ended up setting up a truck. We worked together to handle the call, but it just makes it so there's no hurt feelings because it's black and white.
Yeah.
So then everybody knows if they're in the wrong, and then we can work through it because sometimes dispatch wrong, but then it gets there, and then we could do the same. But if it's gray or it's not clear, then that creates room for hate and discontent.
All right, Josh, are you comfortable with the language that was in the contract previous to this last one about the boundaries? I haven't seen that, so.
I haven't reviewed it. I don't remember.
I can't imagine that it's changed.
No, I can't.
So the dispatch has been the dispatch for
Yep.
a long time, and I just can't imagine that it's changed.
Works for me.
This does, by the way, there was a period of time when we had, I don't know whether it was an order or however you want to describe it, where both fire departments would be continually called out for everything. That costs the town money. It costs the departments money, and depending on the level, that doesn't work. So, I mean, when you have one car crash, you don't need all that apparatus, and you don't need that kind of response. On the other hand, if it's I believe there are different protocols when you have structure fires or things like that. Well, then that's way different. So there's a motion on the floor. Chauncey, can you read that back? Is it number 8?
So it is number 8. Mike made a motion to add this section be added to include fire department boundaries in the contract, and then you added to include dispatch and how that's going to work.
Okay. Mike.
I think you started to touch on it. Is it another, is this a place to bring up the other issue? It slips my mind now. We're talking about boundaries and where to go. Oh, staging.
No, that's not part of this.
Okay.
Let's just stay focused on the actual dimensions of where the calls are located and the response there.
Yep. Good.
I don't have any problem setting this up. It is what it is. We're talking about geography. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? What is item number 8? Number 9.
Section 8.4, enforcement. West Weathersfield Fire Department is looking to remove the enforcement section, and/or if the board is not okay with that change, then modifying it to include the flow of communication during a disciplinary action. So, for example, if there was a complaint against a member of the fire department that is not the fire chief, that the town manager wouldn't go around the fire chief and basically discipline that member without consulting the fire chief. So looking for that language spelled out if the enforcement section remains in the contract, which I recommend that we keep that in the contract. But if the board would like to remove it, then
What does the board think about it? Mike?
I don't think it should be removed. The language that's written in here says disciplinary action of all members shall go through the fire chief and the town manager. It should be together. It shouldn't just be either the town manager or just the fire chief. It should be, yeah. I see their point, but that point goes both ways, I think.
Any other board comments? John?
I wasn't comfortable with the way it was written to begin with. I just have a real issue with how the town can discipline somebody that is a member of basically a 501c corporation. And I don't have a solution because it has been a problem that we need to solve. But I just question the authority that the town could have over a member that really we have no control over. Should we have control over them? Probably, because the problems ultimately land here in the office. So it's a tough one, but I don't like the idea that we can discipline people that we have no authority over.
I think my feeling would be it depends on the violation. If it's a fire-related matter, then I think it's probably out of our boundary because we're not qualified at that particular thing. If it's a driving thing, maybe we are involved because they are acting on behalf of the town a little bit. But maybe not, like if you didn't, for instance, if you didn't pick up the hose right or you didn't do this right, I'm not sure how the town could meddle in that kind of a micromanagement.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Maybe I should back up on what I said, because actually what it says is whether violation of Weathersfield's policy, rules, or regulations in or state statute. So basically, it wouldn't have anything to do with it would only fall under those circumstances. Anything over and above that would be out of our purview.
And mainly, John, we have we have the fire departments falling under all of our policies, rules, and regulations. So why do that if there's no enforcement if they violate one of those policies, rules, or regulations? So we've created Section 8.4 enforcement, originally proposed by the West Weathersfield Fire Department, but then after they brought it back to their membership, they seem to disagree with this section. So we're kind of, Josh, would you like to build off of that a little bit?
I mean, I can if the board wishes. Essentially, I don't agree, or it's the line officer's point of view that we do not agree with the town having the ability to discipline or terminate without actually creating a municipal department where we are employees of the town that also have HR representation. I believe that my personal belief is that this writing allows the town to have its cake and eat it too. It gives you guys all the benefits, and we get no benefits. The town manager gets sole authority to circumvent the leadership that is, as John mentioned, a private organization. I believe this part needs to be all in or all out, and all in is a municipal department where the fire chief directly answers to the town manager.
Paul?
If we have a complaint against a Golden Cross ambulance driver or something in our town, how does that follow through? You contact town manager, will contact Dale?
That would be, and that's probably proper, because that would be my standing on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think the town manager, regardless of who it is, has the right to go behind the fire chief.
Absolutely not.
To go to an issue.
Right.
I do think
Correct.
that the town manager has every right to go to the fire chief, volunteer or paid or anywhere in between, because they are acting with town machinery and they're acting on behalf of the town.
Mm-hmm.
On a variety of different things. We trust them with town machinery, with town trucks, but I would go back to the comment that I made before, John. Now, what would that be? And maybe we need to have a list of what that might be, because it's obviously doesn't have anything to do with me. It doesn't have much to do with firefighting skills or that. It could have something to do with behavior.
Yep.
It could have something to do with driving our machinery. It could have something to do with a license or lack thereof, but some kind of a thing where it would infringe on the town's liability, which we hold on the machinery. So I don't know whether we need to stop on this one with a little timeout or something, and then develop a list of what we think.
Because if we don't have any discipline or ability to do anything, then the cake and eat it scenario almost falls back into the fire departments. They can
Well,
do what they want.
I don't agree with Josh when he said that. If we did the thing like I said, where the town manager wouldn't have any say or any cause to do that without involving the chief.
Correct.
And I personally don't have a problem if HR is involved to make
Well,
sure.
but they don't have any, Josh Compo is right, but they don't have any human resources here.
No. Okay, well, they don't,
They may-
but
they may within their
we
own.
can say under any disciplinary actions, the town manager and a human resource representative to make sure that by law, everything is being followed from a human resource standpoint.
I do feel middle ground is to allow the fire chief to discipline his own members, his or her own members, and then the fire chiefs could be disciplined by the town manager. That has not gone to our line officers as a whole, because I had that conversation with Brandon today. I did talk to Josh about it, and I don't know how Ascutney feels about that. The other caveat to this is, if something happens, the alternative to this discipline is the town has the right to terminate the contract based on behavior they don't like. So there's still recourse regardless, but there's really no recourse from our end on this particular disciplinary policy.
I'll still get back to the same thing. It depends on the severity of the violation or alleged violation. I don't know what that is. I'm sure that this isn't plowing new ground. I would be willing to bet that some other fire departments have a similar thing about, it's got to do with conduct, behavior, operations, something negative on behalf of the town. Why don't we leave this one
So cool.
for now, because I don't see resolution yet. I see some more thinking going on. Go ahead, John.
What I don't want to, it seems like in history that the town has gotten involved in, I hate to use the word petty, but possible disciplinary actions that fall well outside of what's described here. And that happens on a little bit of a regular basis. And somehow we get all tangled up in it and without any enforcement. So I agree with you, Dave. I think this needs a lot more.
Well, in definition, for sure, for me, I don't know. I mean, we have a responsibility to our machinery, and I know we have a list of licenses, for instance, and some of it, frankly, may ultimately might come to a police issue. I don't know. But as far as an operation at a fire scene or something like that, then the chief or the officer that's at the scene has control of their members. I don't see the town meddling in that. It'd only have to do with operation of our machines, or maybe in traffic. I don't know.
I'll draft new language on this
Why
section.
don't we stop, and then you'll have a chance to go back with them, and maybe we've given some people that are online a chance to listen to it and hear what we think. What is is there another change, or that's it?
That's it for that,
Okay.
that one.
Do you want to, so that was whatever that you captured for the west side. What did you capture for Ascutney? Did they have a chance to review the contract as well?
Yes, so page, section 1.3A, the Ascutney Volunteer Fire Association is looking to remove this section. And their reason is it allows the town to take back all town-owned or partially owned equipment in the event the contract is terminated.
Sorry.
Well, I wouldn't see why we wouldn't, if there was no contract. It's kind of similar to a house issue where you kind of take your stuff. I don't see the contract being terminated, so I don't think there's a fear in that. Yes.
Maybe it needs more language. Upon termination without resolution or something like that, over a certain period or something.
Okay.
You see,
I don't know.
right? I mean, because the contract might expire or terminate or whatever. That doesn't mean you go pick up your stuff. You know, maybe there's something, maybe there's an ongoing resolution that we're working on.
Normally somewhere, And I don't know if it's in this contract, but it's been in previous contracts where just because the contract runs out, it doesn't mean that that your agreement hasn't kind of technically expired, that you still allow some certain time to keep going forward. So it's not like it's just gone. So,
This one rolls over automatically,
yeah,
I think.
most of them I've seen
Yeah.
kind of, or give some other specific saying that you have to have 6 months termination notice, or there's some language in there that says that there's a lot more cause to actually stop the contract.
And that's all I'm getting to, is it doesn't become this overnight surprise that, you know, we're coming to get our
This is a
stuff.
big deal.
Yeah, we're not coming to get our stuff tomorrow. That's not gonna happen. You know, that's what I'm talking, so that'll need some work on the language, in my
Okay.
opinion. That one needs work.
I think I think I was written as spot on.
All right, proposed change number 2 is to consider removing section 1.4.
Wait a minute. I said one thing, John said another. We got 3 other members that haven't really offered an opinion on this first thing yet. What to do with it? Sorry, Dave.
Sorry, I
You're
just
saying
kind of
sorry,
started
not
moving
sorry.
on.
Huh?
I just started moving on, I'm sorry.
I know, it's okay.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the language that's in there as far as when exactly the termination is, or where, I don't really know how the words, because I haven't seen it, but I just, normally, these contracts just keep flowing.
Dave, here, it's one sentence. It says A, and that's what we're talking about, right, is A.
Yep, 1.3A.
Yeah. Upon termination of this contract by either fire department, all town-owned or partially owned assets will be returned to the town.
I'm with John. Absolutely.
End of discussion.
But the same is true for the department, because if you wanted to add a line, it would say this: upon termination, whatever the assets were that were identified as the departments are yours. I mean, the departments, right? I mean, it's going to be a divorce. It would be. I mean, you're not going to just.
I think
Joe,
maybe
did you have a
this-
question?
Yeah, I just see a couple things on the Ascutney side of things that want changes, and it seems to be in, like, alluding to that the town might terminate the contract for some reason, and I kind of wonder why that is and why that's a concern.
I think history, the last 4 years, 5 years.
Myself, personally, I don't see us terminating a contract, and these two things here, nobody's shooting from the hip on something like that.
Did you have a question, Paul?
No, I was just I was going to agree with Mr. Harrison and yourself that I think it needs some wording. I don't think we want to just turn around day one and, you know, as soon as something's done, we want to like look at it a little bit. But overall, at the end, if we can't come to an agreement, they have their stuff and we have our stuff.
Yeah.
Both sides.
It's true.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean on it, but I have no problem working on some wording though, to give both sides some good feeling that, you know, that we're not just going to all of a sudden, you know, say, oh, we're done, you did one little thing wrong in this. I mean, you know, I think it needs to be a really drastic
It
thing.
may already.
That gets into 1.4 then.
It's already in there. We just got done talking about it,
Town's
90
right to
days.
terminate. Yeah.
The 90 day, you have to give a 90-day termination notice.
Right.
My other point to that, Mr. Chair, is that also, does the town even know what is owned by the town? And what
Yeah,
isn't?
No.
Yeah, but no, we've
no.
had those lists
Well-
made before.
Okay.
Well, I think there's a lot more known than unknown.
Okay.
I mean, I really do. That's been clawed over for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. You know, is it right up to February 1st, 2021? Maybe not, but I have a general idea that there's a lot of things that are. I mean, that's been talked about for a long time.
I make a motion to leave section 1.3A alone as written.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to leave section, what is it, 1.3A?
Yes, sir.
The way it is, the way it reads. Any discussion? Yes, Joe?
I just want to reiterate again that the town, from my point of view, has no interest in terminating a contract and taking back any kind of equipment whatsoever. I mean, we're proud kind of both fire departments. They both do a great job, and I think we should kind of go on the positive side of things rather than worry about what's going to happen if we terminate. Is all.
Agreed.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? What is the next section, Brandon?
Section 1.4, consider removing, allows the town to terminate the contract for any reason.
That's in there?
Yes.
Right to terminate without cause. The town in its sole discretion may terminate this contract by providing the fire departments with written notice that the town is terminating this contract no earlier than 90 days following the latter's receipt of this notice.
Is there any, and if it's got any position is, I'd like to take that out.
Yes.
It is. Is there anybody, Darren, are you still on? Are you off? Or is anybody wants to comment from Ascutney? What's that, John?
I think he's still there.
You still with us, Darren, or are you off? Nobody's there? Okay,
I'll make a comment.
go ahead.
We didn't like the wording of, termination without cause. Just for the simple fact that, just say that somebody's mad or whatever, they can say, okay, you're done. Here's your 90-day notice. I mean, I think you have to have in there some sort of, just cause of why you're terminating.
I
Go ahead, John.
actually, Barbara, now that you've said that, I would not object at all to dropping the word out. Just leave it with cause. I mean, we gotta have a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Just cause.
just cause.
Well, just
Well,
like
let's-
if we wanna get rid of Brandon, we gotta do it with cause. You can't just say, Brandon, you're all done. It's that simple. Not proposing that either.
He's been saying all night, we don't have a town manager. It's like multiple times here.
I'll make,
You better be careful.
Chair,
I might have to do some research tonight.
I'll make a motion that,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we change section 1.4 to say with cause.
So it will read, town's right to terminate with cause.
I think it should say with just cause. I think
I
that's.
think, I think that's semantics, though. I think it's the same
I
thing.
agree. And I think that's supported by statute. The definition, legalese, I think.
I'll second the motion too, by the way.
The motion been made, and seconded to make an amendment to section, what is it?
1.4.
1.4 to read that the determination can exist with cause. Of course, that'll be a legal definition to be determined, what that would mean or what it wouldn't mean.
It's state statute, John's correct.
Any other discussion on that, section 1.4, change? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next change?
All right. Proposed change number 3 from the Ascutney Volunteer Fire Association. Change highway superintendent to highway department. The reason is it's more general rather than just name the highway superintendent. I have no issue with this change.
Paul,
I'm just gonna make a motion that we accept that.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the change noted under section, what is it?
2.8.
2.8, noting a change from, to the highway department. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next.
Section, go ahead.
No, I just said aye.
Section 6.1, add in the language from the execution of this contract. The reason for that is it protects the fire departments from everything in the past. This is new language, so section 6.1. Do you have that pulled up, Mike?
I'm getting there, yes. vehicles and apparatus purchased with town funds. Title to all vehicles and apparatus acquired in whole or in part with monies derived from town funds shall be in the name of the town. If a fire department adds additional items to a fire truck, this will be considered a donation.
Make a motion, we approve as written.
Is there a second?
I just want to go back and look at the
Is there a second to the motion?
second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve to have no change, to approve this section as, what is it, 6.1?
Yes.
Yes.
As written. Now, we're open for discussion. Yes, John?
The reason I made the motion like I did was that we have gotten into this discussion multiple times about partial ownerships, partial titles, and this just cleans it up. Having vehicles that 90% or above are paid for by the taxpayers and 10% are paid for by the fire department under multiple titles is just clumsy and not appropriate.
I would add to that discussion that my goal is to stop fundraising and to stand up in front of the voters year after year and tell them what they do and tell them that they need to pay for it. That way, we don't get into the arguing, as John said, which we always seem to do, about insurance and no insurance, buying, not buying, I didn't get what I wanted. It doesn't matter what board's here, what town manager here, or what fire personnel here. That would be my goal, which means that the town is in the business of the fire, and that we let the volunteers, you've heard me say this 20 times, we let the volunteers use the machinery to do the services that they do so well. Paul?
I think if I was in this contract and I looked at it and I went, I would think it would be from the start of this contract anyways. I don't see how it could go back. I mean, I think a Scottney might be wondering or worried that, like, if they put something on the truck extra from 5 years ago, that all of a sudden now that'll be considered the donation. I could be wrong. I don't want to put any words.
That's exactly what they were concerned about.
But from a legal standpoint, when you think if you had a contract that was signed on this date, anything previous to that is not part of that contract.
Yeah, I think so.
I would think it would be from there going forward, but I see I think that's what they might be worried about.
They're looking to add the following sentence from the execution of this contract.
Right, which I don't have a problem with that, but
I don't know. I'd like to hear the number. I mean, Darren and I are pretty close. He talks, I talk, he listens, I listen. I've thrown out the possibility here in public meetings a couple meetings ago that if they had a number that they were interested in, that we could have proposed that through the budget process, then we become the owners and they become the users. If it's gotten that particular about, I don't see the need for either department to be owning these things. They get to use them, and they get to use them very well as they have to. And I just said what I wanted to say a few minutes ago. I think it's our job to define to the taxpayers and the people of the town the need and to defend it. Do you have a question, Mike?
No, point. But right now they do, Dave. They have some ownership in some things. And so I was trying to figure out, so thank you, Paul, for pointing that out. I was like, what are they trying to do here? Mm-hmm. It wasn't making sense to me. I just wasn't getting it. I'm tired and old. Anyway, from the execution of this, yes, that I can see where that just protects them on the stuff that they've invested in up to this point. That's all it does. If you were to come forward with your idea, Dave, it goes away because you'd be buying everything anyway. You'd be buying out all of those things that they've paid for.
Right.
And they just want a little assurance that, signing this contract doesn't mean that they're signing over stuff that they own. That's all they're looking for, I think.
Well, in history, they've wanted, okay, the voters vote $350,000 for a new fire truck,
yep.
And they want to add X, Y, and Z to the tune of $30,000, so they donate it. Then they want the title in dual dual title.
Ownership,
And
yes.
I don't want to go down that road again.
I agree, I don't either.
It did-
Moving
it did,
forward, we're
John.
not going to.
It,
Okay.
yeah, it did.
And there's something else with that, John. I talked to a previous employee with legal experience that explained to me, like that $30,000 that may have been spent on something 8 years ago.
Yeah.
They don't get $30,000
No,
for
it's
that.
depreciated.
And they don't get to take it off the truck either. When that was put on the truck, it became property of the town.
Okay.
And there's a term for that. And they would be eligible in a court for depreciated value only.
Let's circle the wagons here. So
Trying to clarify something.
there's a motion on the floor to leave the language as exists. Does somebody want to make an amendment to the motion? Which the amendment would be, or somebody could make to take away the motion, would be to be from this date, from the signing of the contract forward. Now, does that mean, does the signing, that the town signs the contract, or that both parties sign the contract? So, if one says, I'd like to sign, but the other one says, I never signed, then it's never enforced. So, please understand that up here at this table. Yes.
If the other party doesn't sign, there is no contract.
Well, but I'm just pointing out something about the town's interest. The town's interest is to buy the machinery to let the volunteers use. Now, the town could also say, at some moment in time when we buy machinery, we're not allowing add-ons. It is what it is. So through the bid process, get it straight.
But I want to clarify, that's not a rule right now, correct?
No,
That's your personal position.
well, that's the way around whatever
It's
this
a
is.
gray area right now.
It's a gray area, and that's the way around this, that any purchase from the town, if it's on behalf of the town, get the RFP right the first time, so you don't have to go back and have add-ons. That'd be under the purchasing policy. Joey?
I feel like we're circling around this. Can we take a vote?
Yep. Well, we are, but there's a motion on the floor to adopt this as written.
In a second.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
It's 3-1.
I'll make a motion that
Didn't have to
we,
vote.
I'll make a motion that we accept item 4 as written here, from the execution of the contract when it's signed by both parties.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt this, what section is it?
6.1,
6.1,
add in the language from the execution of this contract
by both parties.
that is signed by both parties.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Brandon, where are you at with this?
Yeah, well, let's see what the vote
Makes
is.
sense, right?
The one thing I'll say is that right now,
You woke him up, man.
Hold it, John, go ahead.
right now, there are town-owned vehicles that the fire departments have put money into that eventually will get sold. So they're gonna be looking for their depreciated value for their contribution. It may not be much, but nonetheless, if we don't adopt it as written,
I understand.
I don't think any of them actually got put in dual ownership or dual title, but I'm not positive about that. I know there was a push to do that, and I don't have the reason. I don't know.
I'm looking forward, not backwards, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And frankly, if I put in the time that these
Point.
folks have had,
No, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this section shows good faith, and I agree with adding in the language from the execution of this contract. And if we have to show depreciated value, I think it would be in the case where we'd be trading a fire truck in for another one or something to that effect. So I think that could be a partnership between the town and the fire departments. You know, if we decide to purchase a truck for however much a fire truck costs, $250,000, $300,000,
Four and a half.
you put in the items that you've added onto the truck as to increase the value of that truck to help us pay for this truck. I think the fire departments would be okay with that.
But John is right. They've always asked for double titles and different things, and it's always come back to haunt everybody. Paul?
Yep.
I just wanted to let everyone know, Darren texted me, he's been trying to speak, and I don't know if he can't get through, or if he's muted, or, I want to make sure he can get recognized, please.
We can't unmute it. He has to unmute it on his end. Tell him the microphone in the lower left-hand corner should be green, not red. If it's red, click it, and then it'll turn green. If that doesn't work,
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Bingo. Go.
Okay, I've got a bunch of things I want to say. First of all, the fire departments had nothing to do with the double title. That was brought on by the select board and the former town manager. We went with it. You guys brought it up. It was not the fire departments that wanted that. We've been on the defense for 4 to 5 years. That's why we had that. We wanted that article in there to protect ourselves on this whole stuff. So there's nothing in there saying that we want the titles on there. Technically, Engine 4 should have had 2 titles. It didn't. It went to 1. And you didn't hear us complain about it. We went with it. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And we are adding the language, Darren.
Thank you.
Well, the language says that from this day forward.
Right.
Yes, yes, that's what,
Double.
but that's what they asked for.
Whatever.
Okay. Call the question.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. 3-2. Next.
Next.
sorry.
The typo,
I
section
didn't.
7.1.
Okay.
Let's throw at it.
The easy one.
So this is an easy one. I do want to say that there was an exhaustive list of proposed amendments that were resolved amongst ourselves. So there were a lot more. There's a couple that I haven't brought back to the Ascutney Fire Department to tell them that we've resolved them, but we plan on having that meeting either this week or next week. So Barb and Darren, if you don't see a proposed amendment on here, that's because we resolved that internally, and we'll discuss those with you. But this is the last change, section 7.1, just a typo. It said section 8.5. We just need to change it to 7.5. But wanted to note that.
I'll make a motion that we take item 5 and we fix the typo in section 7.1.
Just change the number.
Yep.
Is there a second? Second. Motion made and seconded to change the appropriate numbers to where they're titled. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is that it for the changes or discussion? Anybody have anything else to say about the fire contracts, either here at the board or online? Anybody? No other comments?
I had some comments that I had given to Brandon. I'll let him deal with them with the fire departments, and we'll deal with them another day,
Okay.
if at all.
Thank you, everyone, for working
Thank you,
with us.
yep. Let us just vote to move the select board meeting from the 15th to the 16th. It's President's Day, so
Second.
6:30, right? Motion been made and seconded to approve the meeting change to February 16th at 6:30 PM. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's go to drinking.
Yes. I don't see copies in our packet anywhere.
No, I don't either, so if we'll get there in a minute. I hereby open the Board of Liquor Control Commissioners here, and the first one up will be Abbott Brown, doing business as the Inn at Weathersfield. Normally, John's correct, we normally have these in front of us, Brandon. No, not here.
Sorry. Would you like to push these to the next meeting, and I can?
Oh.
I don't have.
And I don't know that we can for this reason. Sometimes these expire.
Yep.
And then when I don't know the dates, but we've done that before and we run into
We
jeopardy.
pushed it.
So are they printed and ready for us to sign or not?
I spoke with Floanne and Chief Daniels, and they said they had no issues with any of those listed here. I don't have
I
anything.
understand that, but we normally have copies we have to sign for tonight.
Okay,
So are they printed or not?
I don't have anything.
Suggestion, call a special meeting if we have to.
Okay. So,
We did that
I
last.
wasn't provided with any documentation on this.
okay, but we don't know when the licenses expire. Sometimes we've had times when they would be up,
Right.
before our next meeting. I don't know
Okay.
that these are, I don't know that they're not. I don't know anything.
It seemed early, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. So,
It is a little early.
when you ask Flo Ann, do they normally come into the town clerk?
Yes, they go to the town clerk and then she discusses them with the chief.
What does the board want to do? You want to put them off to the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if I have to, I'll have to call, and if Flo Ann races around and said, why didn't you approve them? It doesn't matter, we have to, actually, all of us have to sign these. You can't even say to have the chair sign, not happening. Has to have a quorum sign. So we'll, like a motion to postpone these until the 16th of February unless they ran out and we have to call another meeting.
So moved.
No. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to postpone or to, what's the other word I'm looking for? Table the liquor licenses until February 16th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Quick question, anybody remember what happened to the tobacco?
Normally they come in together.
Yeah, but it seems like something changed with that though. Did they roll together or
Can
we
you
didn't have
ask,
to approve it or?
can you guys make a note of it and ask what about any tobacco licenses?
Yeah.
I have one thing for any other business.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to request, let me just look at the calendar real quick, that the board give the administration until March 1st for the next fire department contract meeting. That'll give me time to update the contract with all the changes tonight, get the language for the boundaries, review the contract from a legal standpoint, and then give the board a final draft.
We won't be having a meeting until, we will have one meeting on the 16th of February, and we won't have another board meeting until March 4th.
Okay.
Outside of town meeting day. We'll be meeting on town meeting on the 27th, and then, but a regular board meeting. So,
And then, can I put the signature date as March 4th of 2021 and request that both fire chiefs come into this meeting to sign if everybody's satisfied?
March 4th will be, generally speaking, it's not a business meeting, it's generally a reorganization meeting
Okay.
and appointments of other boards. So why don't we just get together and why don't you and I talk about it? Is the board okay with deferring the fire department decisions until Brandon can work out the details? It may be, the next meeting then would not be probably until, let's see, we vote on March 2nd. It'd be is March 1st a Monday? Okay, the next meeting wouldn't be until March 15th. That would be a Monday, a regular board meeting to discuss. So let's just tentatively say March 15th. How's that?
That's perfect.
That gives you even more time. It
Yes.
gives you 6 weeks, right?
And I believe that would be plenty of time for them to bring it back to their memberships and so forth and come to a resolution on that date.
Is there any, there's no warrants for tonight's meeting? Nothing?
Yeah, there is.
Not on the agenda. We'll add it for any other business if we see it, but we didn't get,
There's warrants in the,
Packet.
it's not on my agenda.
I apologize.
Better pay the bills.
I used the agenda template from the last meeting and we didn't have warrants in the last meeting, so I pushed it forward without adding a warrant item.
But we'll take it up, I'll take it up on any business. Before we get to the warrants, I would like to restate that any persons that are interested in serving on committees or in appointments are going to be made on March 4th. Please get your papers in. If you have any questions, call the town office about whether you want to serve on the planning commission, on the zoning board. There are a host of other appointments that are going to be made if people want to put their names in. It'll be March 4th. Now I'm ready for warrants.
Make a Motion to approve warrant article February 2nd, 2021. General fund payroll, $18,271.25. Operating, $57,659.63. Highway fund payroll, $11,726.09. Operating, $144,659.63. Solid waste payroll, $1,501.45. Operating, $8,256.88. Library payroll, $1,943.58. Brandon, help me out here. The graders down here, that's got to be included in the highway operating.
Yes, so the 101,159.63 is the loan. The 43.5 is what we're putting down on the grader for the service plan. Excuse me, that's the 43.5 the board approved to put down on the grader. And we're,
So these totals are right?
yes,
Okay. Grader, 155,500, grand total, payroll, 33,442.37, operating, $366,076.14. Glad we don't have those every month.
That's a check and a half.
So, second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the warrants dated February 1st. I think you said February 2nd, John. February 1st, 2021. Any discussion? I have one, and I'm just scrolling down through here to see this. What is, there's a reimbursement here for a sign for almost $620 for the West Side Fire? Is it, what, of the general fund? It says reimbursement sign,
What page and line?
page 3 of 6.
yeah. So that's a sign that the West Weathersfield Fire Department had purchased, and then they get reimbursed through their allocation. It was a line item in their budget to be able to make that purchase.
What kind of sign? I don't see any new signs out there, and I drive by.
Not 100% sure Chief Dauphin is able to sign off on that bill.
Huh?
Would you like to hold on that sign?
No, I'm curious. I mean, I drive by and it just says reimbursement sign. This is just generic for me sometimes. That's why I don't like this reimbursement stuff on a number of different things.
It goes away July 1st.
I kind of want to avoid it, really. It just stops the questions.
What, the check was made to Josh Campo?
Yeah, and I don't like the third-party type stuff on anybody. It's not just to him. It'd be for Brandon or anybody else, too. It can be complicated to somebody like me. I don't know. Is there any other questions about the warrants dated February 1st, 2021? Don't see any. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is there any other business? Anybody has anything? Move to adjourn.
Yep. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Ta-da!